Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you how to create the perfect Baldur's Gate 3 build. Now, I've done a ton of different build guides, but I want to help you guys with making your own if you want to come up with something that's going to be somewhat synergetic. Now, I'm going to be discussing some best practices, tips, and tricks that can help you take your builds to the next level. So, pay a visit to our dear friend Withers here, and I'm going to be going through, I guess, some of the best ways to start off with the class here first. So, knowing what you get from your first level class is important. So something like the fighter will give you heavy armor and shield proficiencies when you start as the fighter, but let's say you start as a bard and you want to switch into the fighter later, it'll only give you medium armor. Now there's some classes that level 1 will give you heavy armor, such as the cleric, because their subclass is actually what gives you the heavy armor, so this will override it. If you take, let's say you went all in on the sorcerer, level 11 sorcerer, and you want to add something to the class, one level of cleric will give you that heavy armor. So it can be great for a late game respec, but some of the best classes to start off with one level, I would say the fighter's a really great one, because you get a fighting style, which you can take defense to get a +1 to armor class. Also, each class is going to have their saving throw proficiencies. The fighter happens to have it in Constitution saving throw proficiency, which is extremely important if you're a caster style class, because Constitution saving throw proficiency will give you a +4 whenever you make a concentration check. So if you're holding a concentration on haste and you get attacked, you're going to be rolling to hold your concentration. They get a nice +4 to it, which makes it very much likely you're going to succeed. There's other classes such as the Barbarian that'll also give you this, and the Sorcerer, which is a caster, will also get Constitution saving throw proficiency. So those are 3 great classes to start as they offer something that's very effective for a build. But the Sorcerer is also a really great if you want to start as a caster, because you get the subclass at level 1 of Sorcerer. So you can go with the Draconic Sorcerer, and you can get that Draconic Resilience to give yourself a base armor class of 13 when not wearing armor. So that's quite nice if you're someone that's maybe not so high in armor class, like a wizard. Adding a single level can also give you extra health here. And you can take something like, what's really nice about the one level of the Sorcerer is you can get Armor of Agathis really easily by taking this. The Cold Dragon, which will give you the Armor of Agathis, 5 temporary health points, and deal 5 cold damage to attackers, which can be upcast. That is a really nice first level dip, but the fighter's also good. But another honorable mention is going to the rogue. So while you only get light armor and shields, you do get double skill proficiencies, which other classes don't get. So that's a really nice way to start off your class, by taking those extra skill proficiencies. Although I'm going to talk a little bit, I guess, about where each build starts to cap off in terms of their effectiveness. So some give you straight all the way up to 11. The fighter is a fantastic, even 12 to get the feat. The fighter is good all the way through, so this is a prime candidate. But one of the best ways to go about the fighter is 2 levels of fighter, which gives you obviously Constitution saving throw proficiency alongside heavy armor and martial weapons. Level 2 also gives you Action Surge, which gives you another action. This is one of the most broken abilities in the game, so it can actually be added to pretty much any class and make it better. For level 1 dips, the best level 1 dip would be a Cleric, because they give heavy armor and they'll give you multiple spells. So level 2 is when you get to pick your spells, but at level 1 you get to choose a domain, which can give you Bless and Cure Wounds. So any class can get Life Domain, heavy armor, and Bless, all really quick and easy, just one single level. I'm a big fan of the Tempest Cleric, giving you Thunderwave, Fog Cloud, and the Wrath of the Storm, which is a reaction dealing 2 to 16 lightning damage, which can be doubled in water. So that is a really nice 1 level dip. But I would say that the best level 1 classes are Barbarian, Cleric, Fighter, and yeah, those are probably the best 3 for a single level dip. Now if we're looking at 2 level dips, like if you're going with 2 levels, Fighter will give you the Action Surge, which is an extra action. Paladin is a really great one, because this can give you Divine Smite, which adds a 2d8 of radiant damage to your attacks, and it does 3d8 of radiant damage to undead, and every time you upcast it, it can be doing even more damage. So 2 levels of Paladin for heavy armor, martial weapons, smites, and your half caster. So if you take 2 levels of Paladin and 5 or 10 levels of any other full caster, you're still going to get the full spell progression up to level 6 spells. So that's really nice. And the Paladin itself is really great, but it's a great level 2 dip. The Rogue is probably the best 3 level dip, because the Rogue Thief can give you a lot of synergy. It's extremely powerful, and I think that that's a really good one. The Ranger Gloomstalker is another choice though. The Ranger Gloomstalker at level 6 is where it starts to get really powerful, but the level 3 that you get from Fighter or Rogue is also great. Or Fighter level 2, Rogue level 3, extremely powerful. So I guess for the first, we'll just start with the Fighter, just to kind of give you an idea of what this class could look like. Dexterity is honestly a really good stat because we have armor that's going to benefit greatly from it, and two-handed weapons can use dexterity as their attack rolls. So there's actually a lot of dexterity based weapons in this game. For the purpose of just going through a quick guide to show you guys some tips and tricks, I'm just going to go with this here. We can take extra points in dexterity, strength, and constitution, kind of the main stats here, for just like a random build like this. So we can go with something like this for stats. Take the Hag's. The Hag's hair is really great for builds. So if you don't have the Hag's hair, if you're in Act 2 and you didn't get it, take it at 16, because it's not going to make a bunch of difference when you get an ability score increase to take that up 2 levels. So something like that can be pretty good if you have the Hag's hair to take it to 20 or to 18, and then your first ability score improvement can take it up to 20. So I'm going to go through some, I guess, other tips and tricks to make yourself a really good build. I'm just going to use this as a template. Level 2 gets us Action Surge. This is extremely powerful, so I just wanted to take that. Now, level 3 will give the give you your subclass in most classes. So the Fighter gets, you can go with the Eldritch Knight to get yourself some spell slots, gain 2 level 1 spell slots, which is pretty good to add into any class. But we're going to add in something else. So if we go into the Rogue, which gives us sneak attacks, a very nice thing to have added in. We also get double our abilities here, so we can take Sleight of Hand, or even go double in on Stealth is really nice if you're going to take advantage of using Stealth. So something like that can be really useful. What's nice about the Rogue is you're going to see here, when we get to 2nd level, we get our Cunning actions, which are bonus actions, dash, hide, and disengage. This can be great if you're a solo player, but obviously most people playing this are going to play with a team. Taking the Thief gives us an extra bonus action, so the Thief's actually one of the crucial pieces of a lot of builds, because 2 bonus actions is extremely powerful. Some classes can use the bonus actions for different things that are very powerful. The Bard can use a bonus action for its... or I guess anyone can use, if you have the Band of the Mystic Scoundrel, you can cast illusion or enchantment spells with a bonus action, so being able to cast 2 is pretty nice. The Assassin's also really good, so you get any attack roll against a surprise creature is a critical hit. If you're playing the game, you'll find some opportunities to set up surprise pretty easy with a Quasit's a great way of doing that. Initiative gives you advantage on attack rolls against creatures that haven't taken a turn yet, and as Assassin's Alacrity, restore your action, bonus action, start of combat. The Thief gives a lot of nice benefits. So I'm going to take 3 levels of that. At level 4 of any class, you get your bonus action, but or you get your feat, so you can add an ability score improvement. I want to add in the Ranger, which is actually a pretty interesting build, because the Ranger can get itself heavy armor. So if you go with the Ranger Knight here, the Ranger Knight gives you skill proficiency in history and armor proficiency in heavy armor. So at level 1, Ranger, you can get spells progression, because the Ranger is a spellcaster, a very light one, half caster. But we also get ourselves the heavy armor proficiency, and you can get a free Find Familiar without expending a spell slot, Urban Tracker, or the Wasteland Wanderer. So early game fire and poison resistance is actually really useful. Take half damage from poison or fire. Really nice. There's a lot of poison in early game. Even later in the game there's a decent bit of it, but that can be a pretty great ability to take. So as for level 2, the Gloomstalker Ranger is what we want to go for. We get ourselves... What's nice is extra bonus action can help out in a lot of uses. Like this requires bonus action. We can take both of those and not really have to worry about it. And Hunter's Mark is a bonus action as well. When you get 2 feats, defense is always one you want to be taking. But whatever you find yourself using most for your fighting style, so if you're someone that uses hand crossbows, +2 the ranged weapon attacks gives you a higher chance of hitting. And if you take the sharpshooter feat, it'll offset that loss to accuracy. 2-weapon fighting is great if you're going to be attacking often with your offhand weapon. That can be actually pretty useful here. And dueling is good if you have a shield to add 2 damage to your main hand attacks. I'm going to go with 2-weapon fighting just because I'm using 2 weapons here, and that's pretty nice. Now at level 3, this is where we can get some interesting additions to this class. So we'll take Hunter's Mark there. Gloomstalker is one of the best. Beastmaster and Hunter both get great at level 11, so they're not good for multiclassing. The Gloomstalker gives you a +3 to initiative. On your first turn of combat, and movement speed increases 3 meters, and you can make an attack that deals initial 1d8 damage. This is a really effective addition to this class, because this adds on top of what the Rogue does already good. We also get superior dark vision up to 24 meters. Dread Ambassador, which we get from the Rogue, not a huge deal. But for level 3 dip, the Gloomstalker Ranger is actually quite good. It adds a lot of damage because we took an ability there. I'll go back to it in a moment. We want to take our dexterity up with this next level here. But the Ranger gets Hunter's Mark, which I'll show you in a moment. We get our extra attack here. So level 5 is when the fighter will get an extra attack. The rogue doesn't, but the Ranger does. So we get our extra attack. You want to have this on your build at all times. At level 5, it's ideal, so it'd be best to take this build from level 5 fighter or level 5 ranger and then respec later. But the nice thing with the ranger is it gets spell slots. So we could even hypothetically add in 2 levels of the paladin and use the spell slots for smites. So that's where this build gets kind of crazy. Spike growth is a nice crowd control. You always want to have some type of crowd control because that's invaluable to have. Now level 5 ranger, this is where things get a little tricky because 5, 7, 10, we could hypothetically like continue down this path, but we can also add in the paladin because, as I mentioned, the paladin has some really great uses because you got the divine smites at level 2. So this build gets pretty crazy. We also get I guess a wasted fighting style here. We probably could have taken an archery earlier on and went defense on one of them. That would have probably been a better plan to video, or a better plan for this video. But our charisma's low, so we don't get many smite options. Command can be a pretty great spell, but we don't have a high charisma to cast that with. So just taking this to use our bonus action, get a little bit extra fire damage can be nice. The level, so we've added in 4 classes to this. This is just for example, but it's still quite a powerful class because we got our offhand weapons that are doing good amounts of damage, 14 to 30. 13 to 24. We got ranged weapon attacks like Hail of Thorns. We have 2 bonus actions, so we don't have to worry about doing our ensnaring. If we do ensnaring strike, ensnare our target to an area, we don't got to worry. We also get a bonus action for Misty Step, which is always extremely nice to use. Searing Smite. We got our Divine Smite, so pretty effective damage here, upwards of 42 damage. We got a self-heal with Healing Word. We have Action Surge. This is pretty crazy because we can add a whole lot of things to this build without going too crazy. So the overall stat is 2 fighter, 3 rogue, 5 ranger, 2 paladin. That's what I was mentioning about certain level dips. So level 2 of fighter is really great. Level 3 of rogue is really great. Level 3 or 5 of the ranger Gloomstalker is really great. 2 levels of paladin's awesome. Single level of cleric is great. With some builds, it's best to go as high as you can. So some of the best builds I would say in the game are 9 levels of monk, 3 levels of rogue for the extra bonus action. Another great build is the level 10 bard with 2 levels of paladin, so you can do flourishes and smite off those flourishes, which is extremely powerful. Another great build would be the sorcerer level 11 for chain lightning with the tempest cleric for heavy armor. So yeah, I hope that was some pretty useful tips on how to make yourself a powerful build guide yourself in Baldur's Gate 3 using some of the strategies that I had in this video. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.